Welcome back, everyone, to the Quake Pro League stream. I'm Zoot, joined by Ketchup. We're moving into the second half of the Americas matches. Up next is Nosfa and Psygib, and things about to get funky.
Yeah, I mean, like the two matches that we've had so far, they kind of almost felt like appetizer matches, right? Where like they were great games and they was as close as we hoped they would be.
He just called you appetizers.
No, I didn't call them appetizers. I said they were like appetizer matches because they were good. But now the real meat of the meal.
Are you calling Rafa and Dahang dessert in that case? I mean, how are you applying this?
Yeah, because they're sweet and delicious. I suppose. Anyway,
I agree.
Anyway, back to it. Nosfa versus Psygib. I mean, it's just a matchup that I think a lot of people are really excited to see.
It's like a juicy steak. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
But we are gradually going up the rankings, and that's how these Week 1 matches have been going. You know, just to refresh your memory, QuakeCon, everyone played everyone to determine ranking and seeding and all that good juicy stuff. And we have kind of gradually been going down, you know, from bottom seed all the way up to top seed. So now we're kind of going into the players that did exceptionally well at QuakeCon, being Nosfa and Psygib, who really collected some significant names on their way up, and then obviously finishing up with Dahang and Rafa, who are top 2 and have been top 2 in America for as long as Quake Champions has been a thing, really.
Pretty much. Of course, this week we're missing out on Chain and Waz, but they will be playing next weekend, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I guess we can start with Psygib a bit. Psygib, American player, here it is. He's the enigma, man. This guy, again, like a couple of other players that we've pointed out, has been amazing in team games. He's won QuakeCons and CTF. This guy's just got some unbelievable mechanical skills, and I personally think has the best mechanical skills in all of North America. But when he's streaming, he's got this way where he could just tell you a story about life, and he's just hitting kind of mid-airs and flick rails at the same time. And it's just how? I
think it's because he's one of those players that has truly spent pretty much his entire life playing Quake in all of its different shapes and sizes. So he's developed such a level of just fundamentals that he can probably be asleep and still hit ridiculous shots. You know, you get those players where like they're so good at a game they can just do it with one hand, tied behind their back. And if you've lived and breathed Quake your entire life, then maybe you are going to be in that position. Psygib is of that generation in North America.
And he calls himself the second best player in North America because he beat Dahang. The only player he didn't beat in the Americas was Rafa at QuakeCon, despite being overall rank was lower than Dahang. But it's fair. I personally think that's a fair enough self-proclaimed claim to make.
I mean, especially during these
on the global ranking, it's different, of course.
But in these weekly broadcasts where it's NA versus itself, perhaps that is 100% where we're going to see things tested.
We find out.
His opponent, Nosfa, at QuakeCon also had an amazing result for himself. You know, he was able to defeat Wenger, which was I mean, the pop-off, right? I don't want to milk it because I know that we don't want to make a huge deal out of players showing personality.
Get you a bottle of water and you can
because
demonstrate.
It's just who they are. No, but it's just who they are, right? And Nosfa is a confident player, and he was always seen to be like a sleeper hit a couple of years ago when we just started doing Quake LANs, and people were like, hey, watch out for this Nosfa guy because he's ridiculous. But every time there'd be a big LAN tournament, I feel like he'd kind of get unfortunate brackets, where he'd just have real killer tier matches immediately.
This is someone who's incredibly used to competitions. Not only is he amazing at Quake, but he's also been like a professional swimmer. So this guy is used to training a lot. He spent a lot of time in America and is currently in America at the moment, basically continuing his boot camp. And he's just getting better and better and better. The changes that we see from him from one month to the next are truly remarkable. And it's going to make our predictions when we get to them, I think, kind of spicy, because it's very, very difficult. I don't want to sound like a broken record, because a lot of these games have been fairly hard to predict. But this, for me, is the hardest match of the entire day to predict.
I mean, like, players have been evenly matched all day, and, would you believe it? That's just how seeding works.
Unreal.
But it's been a great journey and showing us why these players are so evenly matched.
Yes.
Predictions, it is hard to make. However, I feel like through pure hunger alone...
Wait. I'm going to hold you on the predictions. We've got some vetoes to go through. Right, we got orders around here, Ketchup. I'm gonna have to hold on to that as well. Sorry, I just had you on the brink right there.
Fine.
And, we'll float to it in a second. We've just got the formalities to take care of, guys. These are the maps that we've got. We've got Psygib picking Ruins. We've got Nosfa on Awoken, and we got Blood Covenant. We got Ruins and Blood Covenant from the Americas. I'm so delighted by this.
At last.
And we got Nosfa playing Slash. That's where the pop-off happened against Wenger on that map.
But ultimately,
I still have the water stain on my feet.
From just being there. Ultimately, though, look, that level of confidence is required if you're not afraid to be a bit of a showman and really celebrate to the crowd. And, you know, I'm really glad that it was well received because, look, this is what happens when you're playing in a live setting and you're just playing out of your mind. And it's like, you just show the people how much it means to you, right? And that level of confidence is not easy to reach in a live setting. And if you're on the receiving end, that's quite nerve-wracking sometimes. Like, this guy is not afraid.
You can see each other quite clearly as well on the stage there. I mean, they kind of got the tables tilted a bit. If you just glance like an inch to your right or left, then you can see your opponent and you know, and how they're reacting to you, basically, which is either great or really bad.
But I mean, Nosfa is just pure confidence and charisma, and then you look at Psygib, who is just pure silent talent. And I feel like that's the way you compare them, because they're both amazing players, but Psygib is entirely just everything about Psygib is portrayed in the game and the game alone. It is all about letting gameplay do the talking.
Well, I know that Nosfa's currently just restarting PC, but I'm going to still continue the formalities. Now I'm going to let you do your prediction. Tell us a story of your prediction.
It's a simple story with a start and an end. I think 2-1 for Nosfa.
Okay.
I'm making
That's
the prediction.
Fastest you've ever given me a prediction.
No, because Nosfa has been doing extremely well recently. I think the fact that he's boot camping in America right now, I think that's going to be a really big thing for him because he's constantly playing all the time on their servers in a different ping than he's used to, and in a more, I suppose, responsive setting. If you're Nosfa and you're taking it that serious, and it's week number 1, where he's already riding quite a momentum wave from QuakeCon in general, because I mean his win versus Wenger was a really big win for him, and it was a big win for that entire part of the world. So
South American people were pumped there, man.
Of course, like shout out to the South American scene. You know, there are so many passionate communities, and I'm so glad that they are represented by Nosfa, even if it is single-handedly for now. But that said, I'm going to believe in him, and I think it's going to be 2-1. But I think it's going to be 3 killer games.
Yeah, this whole series is going to be amazing. But I'm actually, for the first time, I'm going to fully disagree with you. I'm going to predict 2-1 to Psygib. I just think this guy is of exceptional talent. I think he's not necessarily been there, done that. He's just got the raw ability already, because he hasn't really necessarily been there, done that in duel. He's currently doing it. Right, it's in the present, but I just think that his peak we've yet to see it. I felt like he could have done even better at QuakeCon. Just one of the things from him is he's still refining some of those traits that he's kind of taken from his team playing background, where it matters a little less if you die in CTF, right, because you're going to respawn. Every frag matters in duel, and sometimes he makes these slightly over-aggressive plays where he hasn't necessarily thought about what the next minute of play looks like. But sometimes you see him do that, and you're thinking, I'm just like watching a Dahang. I'm watching, what could eventually be a Rafa or whoever. It's really, really remarkable plays that Psygib can make.
But it's all about the climb, and it's crazy to think that this is just week 1, and this is week 1 of season 1. We have so many weekly broadcasts to go through where the journey of these players only starts today. And it will just continue week after week after week. And we get to reflect on week number 1 and think, hey, how did this go? You remember when Nosfa had that crazy close game against Psygib, and then he just became a god after that, and then started beating everyone? Who knows? Like, you never know how regularly these can happen. But I have been informed the restart has taken place. We're going into game. Thank you all very much for being patient.
Yeah.
We're going to get some Quake on deck. Psygib versus Nosfa. Nosfa recently acquired, I believe.
That is right. He's adding the tag as well. Love it.
Yeah, unless Twitter lied to me. I'm pretty sure I saw it yesterday. Black Hawk's Clan. Yeah, that's right. Correct. Thank you very much, production. I didn't want to accidentally say it wrong.
Well, we have got the VQ3 matchup over here. We've got the Visor and the Ranger. And Nosfa. I get told off. Nosfa wielding the Ranger. And just being very patient on the Mega Health. Not really fireworks as it stands. Just a quick look. What we tend to see at the start of a series is a small little kind of standoff. They gauge each other, and then they kind of go into full-on combat for 25 minutes.
I feel like it's partly, I think, because when you start in this time duel, right, it's at the end of the day, you don't have all your equipment. And it's quite risky just blindly running around the map trying to get your rocket, trying to get your railgun. You've got to do it quite methodically. You can only make those big plays when you feel like you're properly equipped for the fight in the first place.
There's a lot of sneaky things that you can do. Like, you hope that they do a sort of standard start, but there's a lot of people who'll be very experimental with it, especially when it gets to competition time, where you just don't want to get caught off. Oh my god, so much damage all of a sudden. Psygib just drops into the rocket orb combo. And that's why you don't do that. That's why Tox is so passive in instances versus a Ranger, because things like that can happen.
Now, that
another frag.
Could have been disaster for Nosfa, but he was caught changing weapons. It just so happened, I think, that Psygib's stack was so weak, and Nosfa hit the magic shot for the max damage. It's going to be a 2-0 all the same, and it feels like a strange 2-0 to have. I feel like Psygib, he's been very careful and then just got caught off. You were literally just talking about how players don't want to get caught off guard.
And then he just kind of caught himself. I don't even, like, he had time to think. He knew he was down there, yet he still pushed. It was a very over-aggressive move to make.
Well, hopefully he doesn't live to regret it, because the momentum is now going to be in Nosfa's favor.
Timing on that from Nosfa, that was awesome. Even though the damage was weak, the knowledge was there. Love it.
Wonderful rail. Just needs more than that. Psygib is wonderfully stacked.
Just the fact that he's hanging around and not just chasing the Mega Health blindly. He's going for those opportunities to do damage, and he's absolutely nailing it at the moment. Very, very solid. Currently, he's like 2 steps ahead of everything that Psygib's doing. Psygib will get the Mega Health, but he's frags behind. And Nosfa's the one laughing.
Just waits for the delay. He's going to get 2 rails looking for a third. Can he do it? Misses barely. Psygib, there's not a lot of equipment to retreat to! Oh, I love the idea. I love the idea for that so much. It's a shame he missed it. That was such a wonderful angle that Psygib was not prepared for.
Nosfa is so creative when it comes to executing frags and building opportunities. It's a shame that he couldn't execute on that. Almost managed to get the combo out, but the Super Nail Gun comes out in time from Psygib. Nosfa's got to make sure he can get back onto weapons safely. And hope that he can still retain some control. Because he'd been playing off the items. He was basically baiting the items the entire time for the second minute or so. Second or third minute. But now he needs to maybe anchor down the game a little more.
He's got a bunch of weaponry, thankfully. Fair amount of time until Mega's going to spawn. So it's going to take a while. Trying to get some of that information now. Even stacks. But I feel like Nosfa's just been a little bit more confident too. Not saying that Psygib's not confident, but Nosfa's just been not afraid to just dedicate to these decisions. And the rockets again. His rockets have been sublime. Oh man.
So fast as well, the way he's reacting to all of it.
He was caught off guard there too. Like he definitely did not get the opening damage. That could have easily have gone pear-shaped.
And he's being very cautious. He didn't drop down to the heavy, which can be a bit of a trap sometimes. A lot of people, irrespective of the circumstance of which they got the kill, if they're low HP, sometimes they chase down towards the heavy armor and then someone spawns over there and ruins your day. He's just been playing it slow and then fighting so aggressively in the small moments that he's found.
Oh my god, can he finish it? That's what I'm wondering. He's in danger! Psygib, a little bit faster on the rail. That rocket jump was so... I mean, it was risky because Nosfa was incredibly weak, so even though he landed the shot, he did put himself in an unfavorable position.
Oh, the battle down by the heavy. Psygib, he committed to the angle by that stage. It's as if he thought that the heavy was going to be up a couple of seconds earlier. But Nosfa wanted to commit. And he's managed to, again, to forge some fruitful situations for himself. Again, patient with his movement. Psygib's rockets aren't bad at all, but Nosfa is playing a pretty sick game at the moment.
His accuracy has been off the chain. I know he just missed that shot, but we'll ignore that. Finish it off! There's the rail in the air! Psygib couldn't land the mark. He was just going way too fast. And Nosfa, I mean, his accuracy has been ridiculous throughout this map. If he maintains this momentum, I would be very nervous if I was Psygib. It just feels like every time he's making a play, he knows how much his accuracy is going to be there, so he's just like, right, if I can get this damage in this short space of time, it's not really too much of a risk, and he'll just go in there and almost hit everything. It's ridiculous, for lack of a better term.
Psygib hits a very good rail on the exit there. He's got this minute where he can slow the game down and make the comeback, but he can't drama set up. He's got to be cautious disciplined, build control, share on the major items, and then look to commit on getting full control and pushing Nosfa out of control. But I do like how Nosfa is not scared to just stop moving. It's like a lot of players feel like you have to be moving constantly. Quake is a very fast game, but there's absolutely circumstances in which you can take the time to think or wait for an opponent or bait an opponent somehow. And Nosfa is showing that there's no rush. He'll rush it when he wants to.
But now Nosfa has such a frag lead. It's a position where, you know, normally he was kind of like, you know, almost like a seek and destroy style. But at the moment, and if he knows he has a frag, he has no reason to overextend. But if the opportunity arises, he can take it. But I mean, just look at how he's approaching it. When he actually has stack, he's, you know, you said it right, he's standing still regularly. He's just walking around. He's now playing on this frag lead, and I think he's going to be much more defensive.
Didn't go. If that was planned, if that wasn't a timing mistake and he deliberately went around to do that damage, that's really unbelievable. But Heavy's still up, so he's just heard the piercing sight being used. He's kind of just slowly moving out. He managed to hit a tiny little pop rocket. Got to be careful still of the piercing sight. And now is fading away. He's almost waited, well, he has waited basically the entire rotation. Ooh. Almost a snap rail just then. He's still slightly vulnerable, so he can get railed. He needs 31 health minimum.
The important thing about the fight is not even getting the frag there on Psygib. It's pushing him away so Psygib can't fight for the heavy. He was way too weak to try and push, and the further divide becomes now, it's not an amazing position, to be honest. Like, he hasn't got a lot of time. 2.5 minutes left. And I mean, as long as Nosfa is hitting these frustratingly efficient defensive rails, Psygib just can't push. I mean, I totally understand why he'd try. He's running out of time.
And this has been Psygib's map pick, by the way, guys.
Uh-oh. Bad news, Billy, that one.
Nosfa just keeps impressing.
But this is why I really feel like I'm a believer in this guy. I just...
And
with how recently he's been playing.
He's so passionate as well. Like, the effort that he does to do this, it's not just because he knows how to be a professional. He's got a dream that he's chasing, you know? He really wants to be king of Quake. And he's got to fight his way to get there. These are the kind of steps you need to take. I know we're in map 1 of the first series, the week 1 Quake Pro League and all that, but this is already someone who's got their head screwed on. And look at that commitment. He's going to get the shove out. 11-2 here.
Get Quake 1 endinged, man. Oh.
Well.
But I mean, at this point, is he even going to worry about dying?
Yeah, I mean, 3 health left for Psygib. He needs a miracle, really, to bring it back to, well, within even 4 frags. He's still going for it, though. Respect that. But the start for Nosfa was so good. And, you know, it started off badly for Psygib. He jumped down into the rail with this very aggressive play, which Nosfa handled excellently. And I think it's just going to show Psygib that he can't get away with those kind of moves versus Nosfa.
Should be able to get another frag, but like I said, like the main objective here for Nosfa is to just waste time. You know, who cares if he dies at this point? If he can just take it, make it take as long-winded as possible. He's just sitting in the side near the light armor and teleporter. I mean, there's no reason to push, honestly. Yeah, he's just sitting there now, waiting. Why not? And in this position now, gets the teleport. Wonderful little rocket jump, actually. Psygib getting just the right amount of height.
Lots of movement.
And now Psygib's just going to have to try and get as many kills as he can. You know, kills always matter in Pro League. They do get tallied in for results as a whole. And he's chasing it to the last. Oh, damn eye. Get out of the way.
I like the movement that he's showing us. He knows he can't fight for the win, but he's still going for the frags till the bitter end. That's going to be GG here on Ruins. 11-4 for Nosfa. What a performance from him.
It was a great start, and absolutely how you want to kickstart. Because actually, look at the control. It's pretty similar. It's not really, you know, it's not really going to be in one person's favor. But yeah, no, you're probably going to mention the same thing. It's in Psygib's favor.
Yeah, it's in Psygib's favor, but that's the thing. Nosfa did over 1,000 more damage. He was baiting out the items. When you're leaving the items up and your stack is okay, and the opponent doesn't hear you take them, it's like, oh, maybe I can go and get it? Can I waddle my way towards the item? This is, yeah, one of the early frags, which was very odd. And it seems almost kind of straightforward, but people can buy into that. When you get to the sort of Rafa to hang levels of it, they know when stuff's being baited out a bit. And I think Psygib kind of just got used to the level that Nosfa's bringing to this. And I'm expecting him to be a lot closer in the next map, even though it's Nosfa's map pick. Psygib just, maybe wasn't ready for this.
I wanted that rail, by the way. I wanted that to be a kill so bad. That would have been like the flashiest kill we've seen in the Pro League, without question.
Never wanted a rail to land as much as that, I think, in my life.
But the funny thing is, even though we popped off about it, because he survived, he actually put himself in an unsurvivable situation. So it's like, I think he himself actually banged on it, killing quite heavily. But that is going to be only one map. It's like you said, right now he's a bit more familiar with Nosfa's rhythm and his general workflow of how he approaches this, and that Psygib's not going to be able to get away with this and that. Then maybe that first map is just data.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're Psygib now, you have to just ignore what happened and use that first map as data. Going into the future maps, you now know what you're up against.
Yeah. Exactly. Awoken next. We are going to have Nyx for Psygib. We're going to have Aizen over for Nosfa. I like a Nyx on Awoken. That's my sentence complete.
I mean, it's similar to a Doomslayer, though, isn't it, right? Anything that resembles a double jump on Awoken just gives you that extra little piece of utility that other characters can't really get. Aizen, I mean, there's just a lot of different annoying places to put the turret.
Yeah.
You know, those really close proximity situations, sometimes you have to decide, do I shoot the turret or do I shoot Aizen? Obviously, most of the time it's going to be Aizen because he's the one doing more damage.
Yeah.
But it's still just that your attention is split in those really weird close range situations. And obviously, you can put the turret in these funny little angles that just has deceivingly large range, too. So, yeah, I mean, the champions make sense. I feel like, you know, most champions make sense on Awoken.
Yeah.
But that's what I think makes it such a good map. The variety in game plans and styles is
exactly
almost limitless.
Because you have to play the styles differently depending on the champion you have, at least for a lot of them. Some of them are maybe more clicker than others. But that's what makes it so fascinating at the same time. And I think on this, I honestly, I said Psygib was going to 2-1 at the beginning, but Nosfa is just styling on map 1. This is going to be a hard map for Psygib to take back, and there's only a chance for him to even get a map in this if he can give respect to Nosfa.
For sure. And you know, the first week is so heavily about, I think, making your stamp in the community. You know, Nosfa, we've already known that he's an exceptionally strong player. But in the first week, having quite a killer match today, and if he's able to take it 2-0, I mean, if this is a 3-0, it's the last thing I would expect.
I don't want to say it in case it actually turns out to be, because it would be more impressive if it was. It would be really impressive
if it was. That's like, you know, Nosfa is here to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But obviously, we still have 2 maps to get through. I've just been told that one of the players is doing a PC restart, so we're going to get into the match as soon as physically possible. Thank you very much for sticking around. Sorry about some of these breaks sometimes. Obviously, we have to wait for the players to be ready to play, and the moment they're ready, we'll cut to it. Don't worry, they're not waiting for us to finish our conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. players are going as soon as they can. But I'm thrilled with what I'm getting from him. I feel like we're seeing almost an increase of what we were getting from QuakeCon. It's as if he's actually just gotten better, because there were these moments during QuakeCon where you think, how is he opening up a map like this? Like, just the way that there's calm before the storm, and then from like second 30 to a minute 30, it's just Nosfa going crazy. Like, that's his like hot point during the game, to just do crazy things.
I think that's what caught Wenger off guard. I truly don't think at QuakeCon that Wenger was ready for that at all.
Yeah.
And it even after the maps, he couldn't quite get into it. But that's a story for another time, as we're going into our second map here at the Americas Quake Pro League. And yeah, good start.
Straight away, just getting the damage out, chasing up, found him off the spawn with no Ghost Walk. This is really dangerous for Psygib at the moment, because he's got no Ghost Walk at all. He's got limited weaponry. Nosfa's got to take advantage of this. Going in with the LG versus LG. He's kind of low stack, but there's going to be major items nearby. He's got Aizen to tank up a bunch of damage. Now time to execute on some of these shots. Can he find him in time? Okay, Heavy's gone already.
He was threading the needle of that tri-bolt, so he's still alive. That defensive rail was so important as well, keeping Psygib a little bit timid to press the advantage. But now we'll see if he's able to get back up on the horse a bit. That was an odd exchange, too. Pretty scary, both sides.
Good defensive play overall for Psygib. It kind of relied a bit on us for not connecting with everything, but it could have been so much worse for Psygib then. Oh, we've got sneaky Ghost Walk play for a moment. It's going to result in a stolen Mega Health. Psygib has the greatest stack for the time being, gets rid of the turret, and is going to get himself the heavy armor. Nosfa might have a frag advantage, but he is, well, thanks to that rail now, more or less equal.
As long as you can get those occasional cheeky rails just to keep their stack lower than they want it to be. It makes you really timid to sort of go for that one little big push that you were thinking about doing. He's been able to get rid of the armor. That's now going to be 2 frags to nothing. And I love Nospa's positioning before he actually went in. He wanted to make sure he had enough little health bubbles and little armors before he went in. Ghost Walk. The ambush has been set, but unfortunately he can't get the damage. Nosfa with the reactionary 180 just in time. Psygib, but that would have been such a good ambush, but he just fell short again.
I think he may have just spotted him. Yeah, Psygib's been really aggressive with these Ghost Walks. I love seeing that, but if it's not going to work again, then really it's time to approach the game slightly differently. And he's doing it sometimes not necessarily having the stack advantage. If he can get the heavy and the mega to begin with and then make a play like that, that's when we can really see it be a lot more fruitful.
That's a nice little double jump though to protect him from the splash damage. He's going to need a lot more plays like that to actually get a kill, but double damage, double jump has been used.
Nosfa missed pretty much everything then. That's not what you'd expect from him. Oh, the rail almost knocking him off the map.
Nice little recovery though. Turn around on the rocket, Ghost Walk. Now this should be a frag if he plays his cards right! That was because it was like a teleporter as well. That just felt like a double telefrag, didn't it?
I think it was just before the teleporter though, right? It looked like it. It looked exactly like you say. Actually, a double telefrag.
Double telefrag. How about that?
Heavy's going to be up in a moment. Psygib now feeling like he's probably having a presence in the series because it felt like he was just too far behind over on Ruins before he was really starting to have a proper impact.
Yeah, it's definitely been the Nosfa show up until this point. So it's just any amount of momentum Psygib can steal away is going to be happily taken at this stage. Crazy, I think the 3 minutes of this map has already gone. This has been a fast and furious map for sure. But so far, Psygib's looking to have that impressive stack. He's now going to go towards Banana. The Ghost Walk's popped. Nosfa gets completely ambushed. Rocket as well, but not as much damage as I think Psygib would have been looking for, as Nosfa has other plans, trying to go for those defensive rockets. Resetting us back to somewhat of a neutral situation, but the trap has been sprung and he can't get the rocket damage. Nosfa gets another frag and it's making it 4-2, and that was a cool. That was what we call a pro gamer move.
It absolutely was. Not that many people try to do that actually within the heat of competition.
I can't even do that on a map by myself.
You know, you practice these moves and it pays off. You just got to make sure you're getting those 100% success rates. Love to see it though. But Psygib was getting zoned away from that teleporter in that last frag. That was really nice rocket play from Nosfa before he led into the lightning gun. Yeah, Psygib doesn't really know what hit him. Good roll though, Psygib.
Opening damage. Oh, that was such a wonderfully placed rail. The teleport keeping him alive. The turret almost getting. That's got to be 1 HP.
Yeah, 1
has
health
to
there. Be. Heavy's up as well. Psygib is in a pretty dangerous position at the moment. Nosfa, I think, has smelled him out. Looking for the rail. Almost having it. Heavy does eventually go to Psygib in the end.
Good rocket though.
Okay, that was a really good rocket.
Wonderful entry damage actually. He's trying to push it away. Psygib taking a lot of damage. Gets a rail. Just needs to land one more shot. Nosfa once more doesn't want to overextend. He's actually doubled back and turned around.
I think that should be heard, that Ghost Walk. I'm pretty sure Nosfa's aware of that.
Disengage just to, I think, split off and go into different halves of the map now. So we can see the jump pad's been used. Double jump pops. Psygib getting the opening but missing the rail. It's unfortunate. I feel like Psygib's rails just haven't quite been as on point as they usually are. Gets the trade. So nearly a trade out there, but not quite. Really good news for Psygib. And he's going to get a mega, so he's not super behind either.
Yeah, incredibly close stuff. I can definitely see Psygib equalizing the scoreline, actually. Nosfa slowed the game down a lot. He seems a little less explosive, as if he was trying to protect that early lead. And we got the rocket jump into Ghost Walk. I think Nosfa's going to smell that out. Going for the Nelga behind and manages to connect with so much of it.
Absolutely disintegrated with that one. But I feel like Nosfa might have even seen the blue spark.
Hello, turret.
Oh,
it's doing the damage as well. I mean, it doesn't really matter overall, but
still cool.
Love to see it.
Yeah, still great. My day has been enhanced by viewing that.
Precisely.
Oh, nice little rail too. Looking for more shots. Psygib, I mean, he is in danger. He hasn't got armor, and that's what he's going to be worried about here. Speaking of armor, the odds have been stacked against him as Nosfa now gets the heavy. Looking to take Mega as well, and Psygib has to... I mean, fortunately, near Banana, there are so many pickups that you can at least, you know, stack yourself back up normally. But if Nosfa has this stack advantage because he's got the Mega, because he's got the heavy, Psygib has a pretty big ask.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but your plan has been foiled a little bit.
It's still not the end of the world, but I feel like Nosfa has the positioning advantage. Yeah, he can kind of just get out of there. The turret's going to be covering his bases. What a rocket. Gets a second, and Psygib walks right into it.
Finds him right off the spawn as well. Good hunting just then. And nice little rail just as he's walking across that sharp angle. Psygib's hurting a bit.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's hearing the turret shoot, he knows that he's nearby.
Did he just see him go there?
Looking for those last-minute rails.
It's got to land at least one of those, I think.
The level,
going up the bounce pad.
The level of control that Nosfa's been able to bring to the table here has been insane. I mean, Psygib, he's rarely able to collect a single one of these big pickups. And he's consistently behind. It's naturally a small champion versus a regular. And, I mean, at this stage, Psygib, every time there is a fight, he just doesn't have the stack advantage. And he's not hitting as many shots. I just feel like everything is coming up Nosfa. Like, this is his map so far. It's his map to lose at this stage.
Yeah, he's hitting a nice rail. That's going to slow down Psygib another 15-20 seconds. Rocket jump up to the top. Oh, he managed to connect with a bit of damage even just then. Find with the LG, this could be another frag very shortly. He's having to ghost walk on low health. That's nightmarish for Psygib. He may have just spotted just a whisker then. That lightning gun should shut down those possibilities for Psygib. As we've got mega health, we've got the heavy up fairly soon.
Turret's going to be firing, so Nosfa's got that information. He knows exactly where Psygib's trying to retreat, and he can play this defensive game. He doesn't even need to go into these kills if he doesn't want to. I mean, I feel like if he feels confident, yeah, he'll push the advantage, but a minute and a half on the clock, 3 kills left to go for it to even be tied up with Nosfa having a consistent stack advantage. I mean, what's the rush? Who cares?
I'm not sure if he saw him again there. He might have heard him, though, down in the water area. Another aggressive ghost walk. This is going to be like the last aggressive ghost walk. Something has to happen from this. 3 perfect rockets from Psygib with 1 health to go. It doesn't matter. As long as it's more than nothing, it's fine.
If he survives on this now, and that is the catalyst that allows a comeback to take place because he survived on 1 HP, imagine that. The momentum shift, like the blink of an eye. Okay, they're trading their rails. Both players crazy weak, but with Psygib having a little bit of extra armor. And now, the Mega.
You gotta go in. Find him.
Oh no, the wall! Oh, the wall. And now Nosfa, he's not going to make these angles easy.
So difficult. God. So difficult for him. Heavy's going to be up fairly shortly, but time is of the essence. He has the ghost walk back. He can get a little bit of a stack increase, but he can't really go for the heavy. There's just not enough time.
Oh no!
Oh, the jump has missed.
The wall again.
He's going to go in for another last aggressive push, but there's no way he can get the frag basically before 9:55, and that is going to end the chances for the comeback. The score at the end of map 2 is going to be 6 for Nosfa, 4 for Psygib.
Okay, so a 2-0 has taken place. Nosfa looking absolutely fantastic. That does mean he is now officially the winner of the series, but now, as always, there are indeed a lot more points.
The stats basically on the items are basically the same as they were last map. I've got a control advantage for Psygib, 1,000 damage advantage for Nosfa. That's the game plan at the moment. It's not about having every single item, it's about making sure that you are maximizing your damage output. That's something that, you know, in the, I say early stages, the earlier stages of Cypher, is that something that he became very, very well known for doing. His out-of-control damage. And Nosfa maybe bringing up some history with him and using it to apply to his game style.
Well, so far it's working wonders, and there is confidence. We talked about confidence. To do that, to do that kind of stuff, you need to be a confident player in the first place. Because if you're timid, you don't make those kind of decisions. And Nosfa is just looking so good. And like I said, he's officially now going to be the winner of the series. And it's going to be 2-1 at the worst for him. But there is a potential now to win the final map, which is going to be Blood Covenant. And if he takes this one, he'll be our first player to officially get 8 points with the 3 sweep.
It's big as well. I mean, the third map is really a big deal. Because as the opponent, you really don't want to let them get that third map win, because all of a sudden they kind of soar ahead of you in the leaderboard. But also, as the player who's already got the 2 maps, you really want that advantage, because it matters when you're going towards land.
Absolutely. And fundamentally, Psygib is, I think, one of the more dangerous players in this NA bracket, which means that if you're Nosfa and you're able to 3-0 Psygib, that's a hell of a starting point too, because one of the bigger players that can give you potentially a run for your money, you've just taken that player in the first week with the highest amount of points you can possibly earn. That would be an amazing result, and not so amazing for Psygib. You know, that's not an amazing start to have on week number 1, when if you get 3-0'd, you don't get a single point. And points are what matters in the Pro League.
Exactly. And you know what? I think Psygib improved in this last map. There's been improvements from map 1 through 2. There's every opportunity that he can win this next one, but we've got Nosfa and we've got Slash over here. It's definitely something to respect in itself. We're starting with Psygib. He's using the dual wheel straight away, preventing any like reverse cheesing, even though he went in straight away with the nails to investigate the lightning gun.
Oh, that was some really impressive nails, actually, with how fast Nosfa was running. Some absolutely beautiful predictions there. But Nosfa and the Slash, this was where it happened, Zoo, at QuakeCon. The absolute destruction against Wenger and the confidence to boot happened on this map with this champion.
The thing is, Psygib really needs to get himself on some other weapons. He's finally going to get himself to the lightning gun. Rockets have not been something he has been able to claim yet, and it looks like he's about to get on it. Oh, the direct rocket just then from Nosfa, though, shortly after collecting himself the heavy armor, and now he is running across. Misses the jump over to Mega Health, but this could inadvertently help him. Lightning gun is going to secure Nosfa frag number 1.
So one of those, you know, we'll call that one a happy little accident.
Yeah.
You accidentally mess up your jump and it kind of just helps you out anyway, because your stack advantage is there, your combat skill is there. Nosfa now. Psygib gets deleted down in the catacombs.
Okay.
2-0 in a minute. What a start for Nosfa, and it's history's repeating itself. Could this be the first 3-0 that we've had this week?
He's been pretty on the items on this occasion as well. He's finding the frags between them, and he's managed to sustain the control. And maybe recognizing that because I'm a light champion, the stack is going to matter more for me, so keeping a hold of control is going to be somewhat essential versus BJ.
I don't think I'm ever going to be tired of watching Slash on this map. I feel like this map was, in Quake Champions, was like made for Slash, or Crouch Slide in general.
Yeah, it does work.
There's just so much height as well that can really build up like the maximum amount of speed duration.
And you can string together the movement basically forever as well. And you can keep going around it. It's such a great map to practice movement of all champions, in my opinion.
If anyone hasn't ever watched that YouTube video where Toxic was going over why he loves Slash on this map, it's an old VOD and it's an old video, but there's still stuff you can take away from it. If no one's been on YouTube and seen that video, go and watch it. Honestly, it explains a lot.
Gotta get out of there. 4 health left. He's gonna zoom by and hit a direct war rocket on his way out.
For good measure.
That hurts a lot, man. If you're Psygib, you're like, really? Do I have to take that damage? However, Psygib has got himself onto the heavy armor, so there's a silver lining for him. Mega Health's going to be up fairly soon. Nosfa's moved well away from there at the moment, so he is off the items. But surely he'll be looking for that damage soon enough.
Just one of the strengths of this champion. I mean, her movement on Blood Covenant, I really think it's unmatched. No one can get the speed and the mobility. The rockets and the rail to finish. Nosfa is an animal today.
Double rockets, closing it with the rail. I thought he wasn't gonna switch the rails for a moment. I was like, this guy's got balls. He's got balls anyway.
It's crazy how consistently excellent Nosfa has been able to play throughout tonight's broadcast. Like, absolutely insane stuff. But I mean, if you're Psygib, it's like Psygib actually had a similar thing when he fought against Toxic at QuakeCon. It was just, he wasn't even playing bad. It's just Toxic was playing so crazy well. It's like, man, what can I do? You know, how can I beat this? This guy's just playing like to the dial of 11. It just feels like untouchable. There's the click, the painful click.
Yeah, he just had the angle wrong as well, so he would have missed it anyway. But yeah, we don't like that click.
And the control straight back in his favor. I think he might probably risk giving up the Mega, but at this stage, would he even care?
I think he was contemplating doing a rocket jump, but then realized he's probably going to lose the Mega anyway, so let's keep some of that stack.
For sure. I agree with it too. And at this stage, and just the freedom of Slash's ability to just go whenever she wants to go.
He looks a lot more confident on Slash, actually, than he did at QuakeCon. Because we saw some very low-scoring games from him there. He's going to find another kill now. He's so fast in this. He's got such a stack of... How has he not finished that kill? Out of all of the frags that you've acquired, how did he not close that one?
He looks temporarily unsure about what weapon he wanted. That's one of the things. I think he wasted a little bit of time. Woo! The rocket and the rail to finish. That rail, man. How did he hit that rail? When you're going if you're standing still, that's not a very hard rail. But when you're going as fast as Slash was just then, and even the super shotgun, Daisy, by Doom Eternal November. That was such a good display. And he has yet to use a weapon that he's not hitting disgusting accuracy with. It is just this level of confidence that, I mean, this is what I now know Nosfa for. It is just this unreal level of confidence.
I mean, there's something he's got to prove, man. That's... You just get that feeling from him, and he's currently proving it right now, but I don't think he's going to believe he's finished for a while yet.
Still got 9 weeks to go after this. But I mean, not to talk about Nosfa too much. I know that he's having an absolute game of his life. But if you're Psygib, you know, we've really expected fantastic things from Psygib because he is one of the best players in this part of the world. He's been able to prove that. But it's just unreal how... I've rarely seen Psygib visually struggle this much in a long time.
Yeah, Psygib's definitely more established than Nosfa. Not much more because, again, he's not a sort of purebred dueler like Nosfa is. But however, results-wise, you definitely don't shy away from what Nosfa's done. Nosfa's got to be really careful. He's on 85 collective health and armor. That makes you railable.
He'll survive 2 now, but barely. And, the rail. That's such an unfortunate miss for Psygib. He just needs something to give him momentum. And momentum's been the magic word for Nosfa and against Psygib. This entire time, Psygib has had no momentum at all. 6 minutes have gone. 6 frags have gone against Psygib. This is just... If you're in this situation, Zoo, and you're Psygib, what do you do?
You keel over and cry. No, you have to find a way to get some information on Nosfa before committing to a fight of some sort. That was really nice, actually. I don't think Nosfa expected him to be that close down below. That was a lot of damage. If there was no plasma trail just there, I think Psygib possibly even secures the kill. But you need to make sure you're retaining that control. That's always going to be step number 1. And then you have to make sure you catch Nosfa on a rotation. Something with like a rocket or where you can mess up with his movement. Because that's the biggest thing. When Slash movement gets interrupted, you're weak. This is a really good push, but it's ended in a mutual frag. Nosfa gets the last rocket out. So his lead is still going to move 7-1.
Nosfa gets the last rocket and the last laugh. He's the one that's just spending this entire time looking for an opportunity to play slow. He's done so much damage there. It's being chased down. I wonder if he's even going to survive this. Nosfa has had the uncanny ability to survive some ridiculous fights so far. And now that Slash movement, can he survive?
Just about.
He's going to double back. You know, actually, not a terrible decision. There's some more pickups that Psygib definitely wouldn't have been near. He was too busy trying to chase the kill. And survive he has. There's still a 6-kill deficit thanks to the trade that happened.
Oh, man, that heavy machine gun. Maybe thinking that the Mega was going to spawn a little earlier so they can at least top up the health and continue the fight. But it's... Nosfa seems to know everything. His timing has been bang on. And he's spending just the amount of time in the fight that he needs to be. Realizes that he's got to click on the rockets, but he's got so many weapons to fall back on. Right off the spawn, almost locks it down. I think he's going to double drop onto it. But Psygib wise to this. Well, this is just valuable time that Psygib's just spent literally at his spawn point.
Yeah, I don't think Nosfa's looking for a frag here. He's just looking for position. If he can
he'll keep doing that.
Just keep him stuck here for like a whole minute. If he can keep him here for as long as possible, hey, that's a win-win. And that was a win-win. Yeah. He wasted a lot of time.
Huge amount of time. I mean, we're staring down the barrel of a 3-0 right now. It's just going to be very impressive for Psygib to make it back. This is the last chance to, I think, have a chance of even making it close. And that chance is gone in probably the next 15 seconds.
It once more, though, is a question of mobility. Every time we see every time we see players often using BJ in time limit duel, I think his lack of mobility becomes a lot more obvious versus some of these champions where They pretty much, and that was a really, really important kill for him.
Terrible. Not terrible at all.
But
he'll take the win there. It's like, yeah, got the kill.
No clean sweep for you.
Nosfa's still getting aggressive. He's really weak, actually. Psygib can get some hard-earned frags now.
Oh, and he's already out.
He's done. He's got the heavy and zipped out.
Any other champion in the game, and that would not have happened. That is why Slash on this map is just a match made in heaven. 100%. Good rail.
Gotta drop. You've just gotta drop on it. Got no choice. Dual wield. Hope that any angle presents itself. Got that quick reload.
Oh,
shots. They're not connecting.
But once more, Nosfa is just wasting time. I mean, this match is already over. This is going to, in fact, be, ladies and gentlemen, our first 3-0 of the Quake Pro League.
My hands together for you, Nosfa. That's a really impressive feat just there. And I think people are suddenly going to have their ears perk up at what Nosfa's capable of doing at the moment, because he is improving so fast with the work that he's putting in. Well-earned result from Nosfa. Was a 9-2 there on Blood Covenant, a 3-0 overall, 8 full points for him from the South American player. That's happy days. And look at the control this time is actually slightly more in favor of... it's actually really even, to be fair. But the damage, again, has been averaging like 1,000 more damage than Psygib, I think, every single map.
It's just when these fights inevitably happen, Nosfa was just on the money every single time. It was like hard to count him out. It was just one of those things where when he's playing at his absolute best, it's tricky to get back up on it. Like, you know, it's a scary situation when someone's playing that well.
This frag here.
And oh my god.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely amazing stuff. And what a result for Nosfa.
Yeah.
For the first week, he's been able to really... He'd made a name, more than a name for himself at QuakeCon versus Van Gogh, and he's continuing that momentum, playing even better tonight than he did in Dallas.
I mean, there's some players in his region that he's playing for that I think he could 3-0, but this wouldn't have been one of them that I would have named.
I am shocked this was a 3-0. Yeah. I truly thought this would be 2-1. Of every match that we have seen tonight, this I thought had like the highest chance of being 2-1. But I guess, you know, sometimes we can be surprised, can't we? And Nosfa seems to be full of surprises, making a name for himself in week number 1, blowing us away with his gameplay, and I think creating quite the storyline going into the rest of the weeks.
Guess what we've got, though, Ketchup?
The big match.
We've got a big match coming up. We've got Rafa going versus Dahang. That's going to be taking place in a few short moments. Before we head over to break, have you got any of your own brief expectations or thoughts on the game?
I feel like it's going to be Rafa versus Dahang, and that ain't a bad thing. That's all I've got to say about it.
Yeah. So with that said, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will have the last match of the day. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. We'll see you in a few moments.